Welcome to the $1 Million Ecom Brand Podcast, the podcast where we dive into the stories behind the 7-figure e-commerce brands that are dominating the market. I'm Pande, your host and the founder of Banyan Agency, where we help e-commerce brands like yours unlock hidden revenue through email marketing and SMS strategies, amongst other things. If you're ready to scale your brand, learn from the best, and turn insights into action, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Imagine the weight of 150,000 African elephants. That is the staggering weight equivalent to 960,000 metric tons of disposable tableware waste generated every single year in the United States. My guest for today, Pallavi Pande, has $1 million e-commerce brand, and we're going to get into everything she did to make that happen. Pallavi Pande is a certified WBENC mompreneur championing a sustainable brand called Detox, DTOCS, symbolizing a cleansing journey with leaves. It's an alternative tableware solution to paper and plastic single-use disposable tableware that are 100% compostable in 90 days for direct-to-consumer and businesses, reshaping hosting needs. They use palm leaves to create sustainable single-use tableware. Now, Pallavi Pande is many things, but she is all for people, planet, and parties. Let's get into this episode. It's a fabulous episode. I can't wait for you to listen and get all the juicy secrets into how Pallavi Pande made her $1 million e-commerce brand. So, yeah, I am really excited to have you on the show, Pallavi, and really happy to have you here. So, the first question I got, so this is a question that people have been asking me a lot in my Instagram DMs. It is this question. Your $1 million e-com business starts with your first 10K month. I would love for you to share about how you started, your big why, and what got you to your first stage in your business.
Great question. I see positivity and thriving in this question. Like straight away, like, let's talk about numbers and 10K. So I love the start of that. But let me bring you back to the reality for 1 minute. And then we can all thrive together.
Absolutely.
But it was during COVID when we actually had zero sales. Zero. So now let's get from 0 to 10. How do we do that, right? It's possible. And again, so my business, Detox, we had just started in 2019 fall, like Q4 of 2019. And we were thinking we're going to take over the world. We are starting and we are selling out like that year in just one quarter, which was the last quarter of the year, we sold out our products. So we thought, okay, this product is validated by market. We have customer avatars. We know who's buying. We have a target audience. And I think we will make it, we're going to do great. And that's how we started. And then 2020 happened, of course. Nobody could have imagined that in their businesses. And we came down to zero business, like zero sales.
Oh, no.
Yeah. What did we do? Did we give up? No. We quickly pivoted our time and investment into building our social media. We didn't have Instagram. We didn't have Facebook. So we built all of that during COVID because we were not making sales. So how do we utilize our time? Which was, okay, now let's craft into our story. Let's craft into our marketing. What does it mean to reach people digitally when everybody's on their phone these days? There's no cooking, cleaning happening. People are all on the phone. And they're kind of looking to be distracted with all the problems that are going in the world. And how can we do that? And that's how we quickly started our digital marketing, which is reaching everybody the fastest through the digital world. And we got onto TikTok, we got onto Instagram, we got onto Tumblr, we got onto Twitter. Like you can imagine all the channels, and we were there. We were trying to communicate with people. We were trying to build a community. We were trying to pass on our storytelling. So we tried all these methods. And I think it was mid-2020 when we actually started seeing people doing intimate gatherings, intimate parties. And that's when we started seeing people were still buying our products. And the reasons were a little different this time. People were looking for less of a cross-contamination mindset. They were looking for something safer, something for a smaller gathering. And that totally made sense because we were not your average place. We were not your cheap paper, toxic plastic, expensive bamboos, or the heavy Chinaware that people were renting, but they couldn't rent because everything was shut down. But we were able to offer people our classy, convenient, premium tableware that is actually made from palm leaves, microwave safe, certified compostable in 90 days, right at their door because some of the shipping companies were still open. though they were charging us 5 times the money that we would have paid in a normal setting, but we were fine because we had a plan and we just wanted to follow it through and go through it because it was a time we knew it was a phase. We just didn't know this uncertainty or when that would end, but we kept on our strategies of like, keep moving forward. And that is when we started seeing our numbers started rising again from zero to that year, 2020. We actually closed at a 5x revenue compared to 2020.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a big deal again. So how do you do it? Don't give up. My point here is have a strategy to pivot. So I think if you are a founder who is proactive and knows what the options look like, there's still chances to thrive. Even if the world is shutting down, you can still keep afloat. If you can't thrive, just figure out the ways to keep afloat. And that's what we did. And that's how we reached, I don't know if it was 10K per month, but if I do the breakdown, we closed at 100K in 2020. I could not believe it. And I didn't even think we were able to do that. But if you break down 100K, divide by 12, whatever the math is, that is how much we closed per month. And I'm going to do the math right now. So that's almost $8,330 per month.
Wow. That is still so amazing. And I think that everyone who asked this question, they are going to be super happy with even learning how you got to your first 100K. So that is really great. And I love that you didn't give up and you were strong through that time, because there's a lot of mindset when it goes into entrepreneurship, right? And it's really easy to give up and just be like, things aren't working my way. Maybe I should change my business. Maybe no, like it's not a good product, but you stuck it through and you formed a plan and you came out of it. That is really inspiring.
And I do want to share one thing here. The reason why I was able to move forward was because my strategy was forget selling. Let's build a community. Let's build our awareness, visibility on social media. And what really helped me during that year, 2020, was that was the year when I did my first accelerator program. I didn't know at that time as a founder what accelerator program meant. And that was my time when I was digging through all these resources, and I had all the time in this world. So I was spending more time on looking for resources. What are the ways where I can still keep motivated, keep talking to other founder friends? Are they in the same boat? I had gazillion questions. So I found my first accelerator program in 2020. And believe it or not, I took 3 accelerator programs that year.
Wow.
For different needs. So these accelerator programs were all online. All you had to do is hop on this fancy Zoom thing that was happening because we had a lot of time to kill. I had a lot of time to kill. And unknowingly or knowingly, I was able to gather a lot of knowledge. How to build your Instagram, or what does this mean? What does that mean? What other founder friends are feeling? And that's when I actually felt not alone. Everybody's going through what I'm going through. So it's not a big deal. And that was how I was able to keep afloat and even thrive that year. These accelerator programs really helped me. And to name a few, I started with a local accelerator program. It was easier for me to dig in resources because I'm here in Portland, Oregon. All I had to do is find accelerator programs or support in Oregon. And I was able to find 2 of them here and do them right here and connect with founder friends locally. So it made more sense to me. But I can give this resource to the audience today. If you are a business founder, all you have to Google is SBDC, these 4 words, because this stands for Small Business Development Centers. Every state has SBDC centers for free. They are funded by the government, state or federal, and their job is to help you as business owners, whatever help you need. You just call them, dial the phone, and just say, I need this help, and they're supposed to help you.
I love that so much. Thank you for sharing that invaluable resource. It is amazing, or should I say valuable resource, like super, super amazing to share that. And anyone who's listening to this, if you are struggling to get started, listen to Pallavi's advice. She's been there and see how she came out like thriving from that. So that is lovely. So I do have a follow-up question on that. You mentioned that you really poured your heart and soul into social media during COVID. So I've heard a lot of people come and tell me that organic social just doesn't work. What made it work for you? What do you think it was? Is it just the algorithm, or did you have a strategy?
So going into it, I did not have a strategy. I didn't even know what strategy meant at that time. I would just do it because everybody was on it and I wasn't. So for a long time, I was procrastinating being on social media. And it just so happened that I felt COVID as an opportunity to give me that chance to be on social medias because I had the time. And again, how I wanted to still stay positive, get motivation from others, and do it. And I think doing is powerful, and honing into that mantra, I will say, yes, organic social media takes time. So it's not a magic wand that, oh, you'll get viral in one day. You could, but for that, you need to be really extraordinary or content or famous personality. So if you're not that, the mantra that I followed through was just be there, do it, because doing is the second best thing you can do if you didn't do it in the beginning. And don't resent it, don't have regrets. Now use your time and then plan your strategy going into it. So it's okay. Sometimes we don't have plans from the beginning, but we get clarity as we're doing a lot of things. It's like when you're cooking something for the first time, you don't know, but you become more confident as you keep doing it, right? So the same thing. I remember my daughters, when they just learned how to make tea, they wouldn't make good tea. But did I ever say that? I was like, you know what? Just keep doing it 10 times and then compare your tea when you're making it the 10th time, like the proper Indian tea with ginger and cloves and milk. That's a different tea versus like just dipping it.
Right. I love that kind of tea.
It's because you really need to focus on your process. What's your process of anything? Whether you're a chef, whether you're cooking, whether you're cleaning, whether you're a business owner, your processes mean a lot. And that's something I was able to understand. What actually is a process? What is actually a routine? And if you do something consistently, it might not show results then, but it will have some impact, which you will be able to measure after a time. So that's the importance of a process. When you follow a process or a routine, why you're doing it is so that you can measure it. And why do you want to measure it? So that now you know how many times you need to reiterate your process in order to get improvements. So that is the analysis that sometimes we can't imagine that we need to do it, because in order to reach from point A to point B, this is what the strategy or the process looks like.
Yes. And one word that you said that really stood out to me was consistency. How were you able to stay consistent? Did you have like a planned out day? What was your routine like?
So I remember at that time, the scheduler was my best friend. I loved bulk scheduling. So I used to sit down on a Saturday and Sunday and schedule for and I remember there was you could only do 1 month or 2 months at a time. So whatever that was, I used to exhaust the whole scheduling system and just schedule everything, where there was a post, a static post, picture, video, whatever. And then we had all the time to create content like videos and do our practice. Like we'd never been on camera recording our own stories, but that gave us a chance to. And again, if we did it 10 times, that gave us a chance to reiterate the process 10 times and become better. And the smart thing that I did, which I'm sure a little bit of founders might struggle because not everybody is camera friendly or energetic or full of ideas. I am, and I take pride in that. And I'm so full of motivation that if anybody wants to talk to me, I'm there for them. Because that's the least thing I could do is ripple motivation and inspiration and give you ideas. I'm full of those. I'm a visionary. So the smart thing that I did during that time was I actually included my whole family. It was my kids at that time. And we're talking about they're 12 and 10 now. So going back 2020, they were, whatever the math is, 6 and 8 or yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Very good at that. So whatever the math is, I included my family with me, whether it was, hey, can you record this? Or, hey, can you speak while I record you? Whatever it was actually a training in progress. And I didn't realize it, that after COVID is done, after the world is again back on, they would be experts. But that is something I trained them for. I trained myself. And today, actually, when we look back 4 or 5 years ago, I'm so glad that we were doing it, because doing is what made us all powerful. And it gave us these opportunities to keep becoming better, to keep iterating them, because the more number of times you do something, the more number of chances you have to iterate. For example, if you do something weekly, you have 7 chances to get better. Versus if you do something 365 days, you have 365 chances of getting better, right? So it's again, with whatever time and capacity and energy you have, all I will say is move forward with the plan of doing.
Yep. I absolutely love everything you said over there. I agree with you wholeheartedly. It is so important to keep going and not just try it once and be like, this didn't work. You have to keep being consistent and posting. And like you mentioned, your kids even learned from that. So
Yes. And
So
today
monumental.
they manage our social media for.
Wow.
So we have the cutest brand ambassadors. They're 12
Aw.
minutes today. And if you are somebody who's interacting with us on our Instagram or Facebook, it's them. They create content. They
Wow.
record the content. They edit the content. And they keep telling me there's something CapCut, like an app.
Yeah.
It's free of cost. And you can just go there and edit. And they are experts now. So now in their school, they are teaching other children how
Wow.
to use Canva. So they are perfect in making presentations, decks, and even like Canva designs. And that's something they honed into with me during COVID years. And we all did it together. We learned, did I know how to do it? No. But how did I find how to do it? Was through these accelerator programs. Again, going back to the whole circle.
Yeah, love all of that. And I love how you inspired your children to be a part of it too. And now they're inspiring the world, which is so cool. It's not just family at this point. Like they're going to their schools and they're inspiring other children. And it's so lovely to hear that. You have set such a good example for everyone. So yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with what you shared. And I'm sure it'll inspire anyone who's listening to this as well, especially if they have children, on how to include them into your business. So I do have another question for you. So you had your first phase of success, which was that 100K year. What was the second phase of your business like? So to get you from 100K to, let's say, where you are today, now that you are at the $1 million mark and you're above that, what did you have to do to step into as a leader to get to the level you're at today?
So I know I did emphasize a lot on doing, but at what point of time do you go back and measure it? So that is something I did. I went back every quarter. So we designed quarterly strategies. We designed quarterly processes. We designed quarterly actionable plans. And then we measured them quarterly, every 3 months. And from there, we started gathering data. Now, this is 2021. We were able to double our sales from 100K in 2020 to 200K just by following that process. Though it was small,
Nice.
but it was still something towards positive, which was more than last year. So put things into perspective. Like I thought I might be going viral and I might be making 5 million the next year. But no, we were still growing slowly because we were still trying to fight a lot of supply chain issues. So for me, it was a different challenge because my products are actually manufactured in India. And if you're thinking why, it's because the areca palm leaves that we use are actually found in certain parts of the world. It's where the areca palm farms are there. It's like a cottage farming, and the purpose of the areca tree is to produce areca nuts. The nuts are consumed, the leaves fall down from the trees, and that's what we start gathering. So I was very intentional in gathering these leaves and picking them up and transforming them into an intentional product in India because that's where I was born, and I wanted to give back to the community where I was born. That was my way of making a difference in the livelihoods of women workers. So I decided to manufacture in India, and the challenging thing that was happening during those years were the containers were, because our products come in containers through water, the containers were actually stuck in country A, country B for 6 months. So we were losing out on a lot of confirmed orders, purchase orders, whether it was through Amazon or our customers, and we just couldn't fulfill because we didn't have inventory. And whatever inventory we had, we were paying 3x times in shipping costs. Everything was very much elevated. So that's why our revenue that you just happened to scale by 100K more. But it was still something, and do celebrate every week.
Yes.
Went from 8K per month to 16K, 50% more. So so that was another win for us. And then I'll just give it to you straightforward. 2022, we were able to double that. From 200K, we actually did 500,000.
Wow.
So, and then 2023, we doubled the 500,000 to 1 mil.
Wow.
Then we started realizing, you know what? We are profitable. We are still a bootstrap business. And we were actually able to get interest from investors last year in 2023. But there was a moment when it came real to me when I was offered my first $25,000 check for 8% equity of the business. And that was a real moment for me when I had to say no. Because I realized I didn't want to grow to a $50 million company. It was because I don't think I'm ready for that kind of a lifestyle. I don't want to be aggressive. I still want peace. I still want to do my Zumba. I still want to enjoy my one glass of wine around the world. I still want to travel. I still want to cherish this with my family. I'm building something for them. This is going to be a legacy, hopefully. And I'm still role modeling. I'm still a mom first. And that's something I do not want to forget. That's when I really thought I really want to make this into a low scaling, profitable business, but in a low pace. I don't want to go crazy.
I love that so much. And, because a lot of entrepreneurs are like, okay, I made my first million. How do I get to 10 million? Then it's like, how do I get to 100 million? It's a never ending cycle. Like you never stop. But I love how you know very deeply about what matters to you. And you've made a very intentional choice. It's not that you can't scale your business, but you decide you want to put your time and energy into keeping it as it is and spending time with your children and doing all of these things. So all of that is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. And I think it's important to know your business model and your cash flow, because you might be able to take on 500 stores, for example, retail stores, Whole Foods, 500 national stores. But are you capable enough to put your products in all those 500 stores? If you are not, then that's your strategy. You shouldn't be even wasting your time or looking over there. But if you can do 10 stores, that's when you think about a different strategy of how to conquer these 10 stores. And again, it could be from 1 mil to 5 mil. So again, depending on your capability, your cash flow, your means, your resources, that's how the founders should actually plan how big they want to be and when. The time matters, the timeline.
Yes, and everything about that is so true, especially for some of our listeners who are already like at that scaling phase. It's a really important question to ask yourself. Do you have a point where you might want to stop and like look back at your life and be like, I am happy and I'm satisfied with where I am? And yeah, so that is a really, really great mindset to have. And I do want to backtrack a little bit and ask, so when you did scale to your first $1 million, did you just like level up what you were already doing in the sense of like posting more on social media? How did you scale it that fast?
Thank you for that question. So definitely we had to do a couple of things in order to scale. So I remember 2019, we had 4 products. And every year consistently, we kept on adding a line of new products into our offering. So today, our catalog actually has 40 different kinds of products.
Wow.
And what we did in these last 5 years was we kept on adding either a parent, a variant, or a child. Like, for example, there's a round plate, right? So there's a 10-inch round plate, and then there is variations of that round plate, whether it's a 6-inch or a 12-inch or a 13-inch. So we kept on adding those variants every year because we realize there is direct-to-consumer like yourself and myself who parties at home, who loves to entertain at home and hates the cleanup part because I hate doing dishes. I'm like, use and throw. I don't want to feel guilty of those trash bags. So 10-inch plate, round plates might work great for them. But for example, there's a vineyard that serves a charcuterie board. That 10-inch plate might be a little small for them. How about we increase a couple of inches and give them a 13-inch plate? Is that a better product for them, their need? And that's what we realized. Like when we started doing a target segment in 2019, this was purely for direct-to-consumers, like homes, because it was out of my own need. And I have realized great businesses actually turn out when founders start something out of their own pain point, their own need. And then they realize, okay, I have a business idea. Then they scale it to 10 other people who might be in the same boat and have the same pain point. Like, I hate doing dishes. I still want convenience. I want classy looking plates. I don't want cheap, toxic, whatever. I want microwave safe plates. I want landfill less tableware options. So if you have 10 people resonating, okay, now you have a business. And then if you realize there are 10 other around the other parts of the world, now you have a target market audience around the globe. So now you can expand and grow. And honing it down to who those people are. What are these factors? Why are they buying? What is their need? If you can recognize that, that's when you have the capacity to scale. Because I might think that a 10-inch plate is great for you, but you might not feel that way. You might say, I need a 13-inch plate. And if I'm a founder who listens to that, and if I can make that to fulfill your need, that's how you expand. That's how you increase your sales. It's not what you think will sell. It's what you think. It's what you know your audience wants. For example, then we went into catering, right? We work with caterers and chefs. So when there are these premium catering events, sometimes they have a mini slider. And imagine that mini slider on a 13-inch plate. How's that going to look, right? So then we had to design a cute 4-inch plate that could fit in your palm with one cute slider. You take it and you throw it. Throw the plate, I mean. So because our caterer friends or chefs came and told us they need something smaller. So again, we had to add a lot of new products in variety to our product catalog in these last 5 years. So we found different target niches and we were able to sell more. This is just one example. Then we had to find out about the demographics. Like we found out Canada is so progressive when it comes to compostability and sustainability and really being intentional and buying and looking for sustainable products. And that's when we said, okay, you know what? Let's now expand our reach and give our product a placement into a new country. And who did we leverage for that? We didn't have the fancy SEO to be found in Canada or backlinks or keywords or even money to pay agencies to do that for us. But what we did have was our Amazon United States strategy. And we knew this would because we were able to scale and grow. And even till today, our 70% of our revenue does come from Amazon. And the fact I want to bring up here is what people don't realize is, and this is an actual fact, 60% people that sell on Amazon are actually small businesses. So when people say keep money local, support local, what I want to really emphasize on is these small local businesses can still get on Amazon because believe it or not, world's best and the most expensive brands are on Amazon. Louis Vuitton, Chanel, everybody's. The reason for that is because Amazon has the world's best SEO. They have the world's best product placement, product visibility, brand awareness. So use it to your benefit, leverage an ecosystem that's already there. And once you've had enough revenue and once you've built your visibility, then pivot into your own storefront, your Shopify, get it all pumped up, pimped up, nice fancy website. But starting our own businesses, we don't have that money to start like that with our fancy websites where we can go viral. We just don't. So we were able to hone into our Amazon America strategy and replicate the whole model into Canada. So that's how we expanded and launched into Canada last year, our fall 2023. And that's how we were able to surpass our $1 million revenue this year. Because now we're taking the model, which we know works, and we're replicating in Canada. And going into next year, 2025, we will be able to replicate that in Japan, in Europe, and other countries using Amazon, which is there. And at the same time, building our own direct approach through our website, whether it's to direct to consumers, whether it's to wholesalers like restaurants and caterers and wedding planners and event planners. So we will keep on all of our business models and all these strategies up and running because it's possible.
Hey, it's Leisha here with a quick break to talk about something that could transform your e-commerce business. At Banyan Agency, we specialize in helping brands just like yours drive 30% or more of their revenue from email marketing alone. With deep personalization, customer research, and buyer psychology, we don't just send emails, we create experiences that convert. Ready to unlock more revenue from your list? Head over to thebanyanagency.com and let's chat. Now back to the show. Wow, all of that is so value packed, and whoever's listening is going to take away so many gems from that. So you have a lot of strategy, and it's more than just like marketing, right? You actually thought about what kind of products you need, what can you do with other vendors like restaurants or wholesalers, and then you even expanded to another country, which all of that played a role in getting to that 7-figure mark. And I think people are like, okay, I just have to find what works and then scale that up, which might be a strategy, but then it will either take more time or more money. Like spending on ads, for example, is a very popular way to get your shop, like a Shopify store going. But how much of that is actually your profit, right? So yeah, so I love how you decided on Amazon. And I guess that leads me to a question. When you were pricing your products for Amazon, I know Amazon takes a cut. How did you come up with your pricing strategy?
So Amazon charges 17% commissions. So if you do your math, what you can see is Amazon also charge you very, very nominal when it comes to storage with Amazon. So again, there are pros and cons, and you need to really hone into your financials. Like if I'm paying 17% commissions to Amazon, where else am I saving? So for example, you could be having all your products in a warehouse. So what you're paying to a warehouse versus what you're paying to Amazon as being a third-party warehouse for storing your products. You need to do the math and you need to see what that difference looks like to you. Now, once you've had the products sent to Amazon, it's called FBA because now it's fulfilled by Amazon. What that means is you don't have the control over your inventory. Who does? Amazon does, because they're storing it for you. And now you're going one level more deep, which is they're also fulfilling your order, which means they will put that in a box and ship it to your consumer with the nominal most efficient shipping, which you might not be able to match with your own shipping software or with your shipping warehouse. So again, it's all math. And at the end of the day, you need to have this data. So you need to measure all of that. And that's how you make those informed decisions. Whether I want to expand into more FBA centers all around the country, all around the globe, or do I want to pay these extra third-party logistics centers and ask them to take care of my shipping? So depending on what those numbers look like, you can make a lot of informed decisions. So that was one of our strategy when it came to why Amazon, because we realized their FBA charges are way less, though they charge 17% commissions. It was a win-win for us. And what we also did realize was, you know what, after COVID, I don't know about other people, but what I want to say is very proudly, I'm a pajama mom. I love PJs. I love sweatpants. I hate dressing up. I hate going out of the house. I just want to be home. I want the comfort. What I'm trying to get to is convenience. And in today's life, everybody's busy. People don't have the time to go on their phones and place orders. Like by the time I go to Sephora to even buy a lipstick, I fall asleep. I don't have the strength or even the motivation to actually place my order on time. So what Amazon helped us with is, okay, if people have missed that deadline or they don't know they want something tomorrow, we'll get it shipped to them in one day, right at their door. Convenience. And I was, you know what? Let's hone into that. Let's take advantage of that. And that's how we were able to curate to a lot of customers because that was their need. Like, hey, I have an event tomorrow. I'm short of 100 plates. Or I didn't realize I should place order on time, but can you have this sent to me? I got to. So these were all the factors why we decided to go with Amazon, though they charged the extra fee. But then again, it was again on my strategy because I realized we actually have 50% organic and 50% paid traffic on Amazon, which is still a chunk of my business model. Like 80% of our revenue comes from Amazon. But we have a good split between organic and inorganic. And what inorganic means, like the ad spend, what you were talking about, like the fastest way to reach people is, of course, ads. And if you have a strategy again on ads, like we started with $500, I remember, per month. Today we do $10,000 per month. And we have plans to double that. And it's because when I looked at my ad campaigns and when we gathered all that data and we were running that in Google, Meta, and Amazon, what my data said, and this was from an accelerator program, a mentor told me to look into my data. And they said, data doesn't lie. And I didn't want to fathom this because it showed me clearly Amazon is where our customers like to buy us the most. And again, we had to figure those reasons and to find our avatars and target audience and market and all of that later. That came later. But what we were able to find that out from that strategy of data, ad campaigns in all these platforms was that we performed the best on Amazon. It was not Walmart.com. It was not Wayfair.com. It was not Etsy ads. It was Amazon for us. So we leaned into it. And we kept on with that strategy because it was proved every quarter, every year. It was just, you have to measure it. So there was a time when we were doing Google ads, we were doing Meta ads. We stopped everything because we did see the return of investments. And I think that's where a lot of founders do get ripped off by agencies. Like they would charge them $20,000 per month, per quarter, and they get one order. That's not okay. And as a founder, it's your money, it's your data, and it's your duty to put an end to it. Like, no, this doesn't work for me. 3 months is a good time to measure it. I don't see why not. Then that means you need to do other experiments. So do small experiments. Do small experiments with small amounts when it comes to ad campaigns, because that's good enough to give you data and trends and help you understand where your customers shopping you and why.
Yeah. And I love that you brought up the hard truth about some agencies out there, which is that they're really good at selling their services, but then when it comes down to it, they're not really fulfilling on what they said they would, which is, I've heard so many stories of people being burned by agencies and spending, like you said, $20,000 a month and then not even making like a sale or a few sales, or like they just don't do the work. And that is something you really like. I would say if you are looking for an agency, you really need to make sure you trust that agency and they are a reputable agency. So that is a really good point that you brought up. And that leads me to the next question, which is delegation. Apart from your cute brand ambassadors, have you delegated to anyone else in your business?
Yes, we have 2 contractors when it comes to Detox, our product business. And I was able to delegate like our e-commerce customer service, taking over the emails, fulfilling daily orders. We were able to do this with time. And of course, we had to build a system. If there was no system, and which founders sometimes don't have, like when we are visionaries, we really just dive in, we get our feet wet in, but we don't have those systems placed. So the sooner we get those systems placed, whether it's an Excel sheet, whether it's a Word doc, like follow this process, it's like this. When you receive an email, you respond with this is the script, give everything a structure, document everything so that when you're ready to hire, you're able to train them well and they can take over. Even when you're not running the business, your business is still being run properly. That's why you need to hire and delegate after a while. But I get it. Not everybody is profitable. Not everybody has that in their strategy. But again, I put those numbers in my financial strategies. Like, let's say if I'm paying this to one person, or if I pay this to 2 people, then what is the payout that I need every month to sustain this? So I had to do a back math. Like, what is the monthly revenue that I need to make in order to hire 2 people to do this? And how do I get to that? So focus on that goal, and then you will be able to hire and delegate and do that back math. But to give people, our audience here, some resources again when it comes to hiring. So every state, wherever you live, they all have community development financial institutions, which is the short form for CDFI. Most of these CDFIs can help you with 2 things. First, some of them have funding where you can get this free money and they can pay your newly hires. What's in it for them is you come under their DEI impact report, and they are there to build and support a community. So you should reach out to your local CDFIs and see if they have any grant or funding where they can pay your new hires. So for example, Shlesha, if you have a brick and mortar, and if you need an intern, part-time, full-time, and you want somebody to pay them $20 per hour, these CDFIs have the money. They have special programs. All you have to do is dig in, find out, and get that intern and get them paid through these CDFIs. So that's one resource. The second resource I want to share that I have been able to get help with is NASDAQ. So if you have heard of NASDAQ, which is the program, the financial institution in New York, they actually have programs called Milestone Makers and Milestone something. I don't recall what it exactly, but it's an accelerator program. Again, if you go through it, at the end of that program, or even separate from that, they actually have internship matchmaking programs where you can get interns, whether paid or unpaid, to do your work. So whether you're building a structure, a small Excel sheet, like talking about business cards, get an intern and ask them to put all of these in an Excel sheet. What that helps you with is you can build your email marketing campaign list, right? From these, by putting them in an Excel sheet, you're building a process. And that's something you can get from NASDAQ. You can request them from interns. You can create a project. For example, I want to start my email marketing plan on Shopify. Shopify has all the templates. I just need somebody to design the template, fill in the script, and send it and measure it. Because now you want to know how many people open your emails, how many people convert from your emails, and why are they not converting, or why are they converting? All that data is golden. So my friends, use these resources.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I mean, if you speak about email marketing, that's my love language. So all that data is for sure golden. And I love when you mentioned that, like, again, another valuable resource has come out of Pallavi. She has shared a resource where you can find paid or unpaid interns. And I would definitely look into that if you are looking to delegate for your business. So did you ever reach a point where you're like, I can do everything myself, and then you realize you're taking on too much? Because I feel like that's where a lot of people get stuck, is like they just don't want to spend money on hiring because they feel like they can do it themselves, but then they reach a breaking point. So what was that experience for you?
Of course, I was there, and I still find it very hard because, believe it or not, I have control issues and I have trust issues. So that being said, as a founder, I don't know if people can resonate here with me, but I feel the way I do things, that perfection or that trust is very hard for me that people will do justice to either making my content or even making my posts. So I had to learn a lot. I had to change my mindset. I had to practice a lot in my own life with my spouse, with my husband, with my kids, that I had to give them space. I had to welcome them in that space to let them do things the way they do. Whether it's washing dishes in a certain way or even putting a dishwasher. Like I have my own way of putting dishwasher. Like this dish goes up, not at the bottom. So again, I had to train myself to back off and let them do things. And that's how I was able to realize that, you know what, it's okay. Let people do because they're going to learn. And eventually that's what we want as founders. We want to be able to step away and enjoy what we built because we're going to get burnt out. And I was burnt out at a point. And that's when I realized I need to hire a virtual assistant. I found one through Facebook, believe it or not, during COVID in the Philippines. And that was a blessing because I was able to delegate a lot of work from my head and train her. And today she thanks me and she became one of the greatest workers in the Philippine agencies. And she thanks me even today that I was able to use Detox as my guinea pig and learn so much during COVID. So the importance is to realize that you cannot be burnt out. If you're a visionary, you have to make sure you end what you started. So because if you're like me, scattered brain, and I'm very good at starting things, but I really struggle in finishing things. I'm very good with execution as well. But after a while, I'm like, here, take over. I can't do this. So if you can design your business, I mean, it's not a bad thing to delegate and let people finish, but you still have to be on top of it. Is it being finished? Is it being finished in the way you want it? Because you're the visionary. You have to really make sure what you started gets finished in a way you want, but without doing it yourself.
Right. All of that, again, amazing. So I love how you mentioned the fine balance there. Like you have to still be on top of it, but you also have to give space. And a lot of it comes from our personal tendencies that we have in our personal lives, which is such like, I always say business is not about just business. Your work, it's personal development. You're always working on yourself and improving yourself.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Yeah. So I love the
I can give here to the other founders is I still feel I'm working on my follow-ups. I'm really not good with follow-ups. And what really did help me with that, get a business advisor. Find an advisor who can keep you accountable, who would ask you for an answer. Like as a founder, I don't want to be answered. Like I want to get all the answers from people, but I don't want to be answerable. But that's not okay. Even you should be able to be answerable to somebody. So get an advisor first. And second, plan out your follow-ups. Like we built a culture where with a small team of 3 people and an advisor and a brand ambassador, so 5 of us, we do quarterly calls where we hone into our strategies and we come back to an Excel sheet where we have all our strategies, what we're going to do in 3 months, how we're going to do it. And we actually log in everything, what's working, what's not, and all the data. And then we reflect back on everything as a holistic approach to see what's going on with the business. Are we on track? Do we need to pivot? Do we need to bring extra help? Or just being accountable? Everybody has responsibilities. So that is very helpful. And we do it quarterly. People don't have to. People do it annually, which is fine. But I'm saying build this culture into your business.
Okay, that's very great advice again. So what's on the horizon for you? What's coming up? What are your big picture goals now for growing this brand and beyond?
Okay, so again, we still dream of going global, and I might have just touched base on it that next year we're trying to launch into Europe and Japan, which is going to be a big deal because we're only North America today, but we have plans of expansion. And what is more exciting is with our product line. So not just sustainable tableware when it comes to plates, bowls, spoons, charcuterie boards, but last year we actually launched our showstopper product, which is patented coconut leaf straws. And we were able to, thank you, we were able to intrigue the interest from Whole Foods. And they came back to us saying, you know what, your straws last for 6 hours inside a liquid, which is a big deal. So we've designed this whole retail box for them. So I have this another vision that we do great right now when it comes to e-commerce. We are doing fine when it comes to direct to consumers. We're doing fine when it comes to wholesale with businesses. The third bucket, which is retail, we're not quite there, but my vision is why not expand and see how we do in parallel with all the other business models. So we've specifically designed that patented straw box for a retail shelf So we are looking into getting that product in specific, the straws, on more shelves. So that is something that I'm excited about. But we're open to getting all of our products on shelves because, hey, I remember those days when I used to just get out of the house because I just didn't want to be inside the house with kids and just take a cart and just go shopping. I had all that time in the world. And I used to enjoy getting products from off of shelf and reading. So I just want to make sure that we are still accessible to people on shelf so that they can bring home our tableware and just plan not doing dishes that night and still able to enjoy that nice glass of fine wine and spend quality time over a dinner table with their family without having to worry about dishes. Like the men are happy, everybody's happy, and you use the plates and you throw them.
I am so impressed by the straws that you mentioned. I think that that is going to be a game changer because soggy straws are a real problem. So it's so good that you found a solution for that. And like, I would personally buy that from anywhere. And I'm sure Starbucks, like if anyone from Starbucks by any chance is listening to this, you need to get these straws because every time I go to Starbucks and I get their straws, they're so soggy. And it's such a problem because it feels weird in your mouth, right? So
yes. So since you mentioned buying and shopping, so I want to put out our coupon code. It's Detox10, and it's spelled as the brand name, DTOC as Detox. And if you're wondering, Detox is a play on the word detox, which means cleansing journey, but it's with leaves because I rescue leaves and I transform the leaves into your tableware. But coming back to the coupon code, Detox, and then the number 10, that will give you 10% off and free shipping for any order right at your door so that you can give us a try. And if you go to our website, detox.com, again, which is spelled as DTOCS, and I'm sure we'll have this in the show notes as well. On our website, we actually offer a sample box. So if you're wondering what were you talking about for one last hour, like plates made out of leaves, straws made out of leaves, or whatever, you really don't have to ponder anymore. Just go to the website and grab your sample box.
thank you so much for sharing that with our listeners. I'm sure everyone is going to go and check out Pallavi's products. You need to because these are innovative. They are so needed in today's time. You know, with all the environmental crisis that is going on, we need Pallavi and her products here. So go and support Pallavi, check out her website and use the coupon code DETOX10 for that. And I think that is so important. So thank you for offering that. Now, Pallavi, before you hop off today, I am really curious, what is your New Year resolution? Because this will be launched right after the New Year. So I'm really curious about your resolution and what you can share with our audience.
So keeping the trend of people, planet, parties that I heavily advocate for, my resolution would still be, so last 6 years, actually, I have kept on my resolution, which is I do not buy any paper or plastic single-use disposables. And keeping that trend on, I will still be buying or using our sustainable single-use disposables starting from January to December because we're going to be partying hard the whole year.
Okay, that is such a good resolution. Okay, and I'm sure it's very inspiring for a lot of our listeners. And it's also super inspiring that you mentioned you were able to fulfill last year's resolution because a lot of people make resolutions and it's really difficult to stay on top of it. So again, this is where consistency comes in from the beginning of our conversation. And Pallavi has demonstrated a great amount of that. So thank you so much, Pallavi, and thank you for sharing that coupon code. We'll link it in the show notes. How else would you like people to get in touch with you or experience your brand or learn more about you?
Yeah. So on a serious note, my actual New Year resolution for 2025 is actually impacting more lives. And if that is one pillar of our business, like we have 3 pillars on which our brand stands. It is usability, because I wanted to make sure that we provide consumers a functional, usable product that they could use in their livelihoods. The second one was sustainability at its core, because I come from a state in India where it's still untouched, it's still raw, and we were just told to use what nature has given us, live in our means, repurpose, all of that. And then the third one definitely is community. So going into 2025, if I was able to make an impact in the lives of 20 people, I want to double it to 40 people. And the way we're going to do it is, I don't know if I mentioned it, but at Detox, we were able to sponsor education scholarships,
Oh my gosh.
20 children in India last year. And then we were
Wow.
able to donate sewing machines to women in India. And with those sewing machines, I just want to share these two stories, which are very meaningful for me. So when we were handing out these sewing machines, there was this one woman who got the ribbon cutting ceremony done through me. And believe it or not, the rent of her shop was actually more than the cost of the sewing machine. And I asked her, how are you going to even afford this shop? How are you going to pay the rent? She was like, don't worry, I got a whole business plan written down. With this machine, this is my business plan. I'm going to make XYZ revenue per month. And I was just flabbergasted to see that. That is one story. And then the other one was this woman is running a tailoring school. Like, again, tailoring school with one machine. And I was like, how? Please tell me, how are you going to do that? She comes to me. She shows me a logbook and she says, so I'm going to be renting out this machine per hour based to 10 women in a day. And that's like 10 hours a day from every woman. And this is how much I'm going to earn. And that's how my school is going to be running. So I'm just saying, these women are so motivated and it feels so good to create an impact in their lives. And it's just with one sewing machine. It might not be a big deal or big money for us, but it means a lot to them. And the third one, I want to say the community impact is right here in Portland, Oregon. There is a nonprofit called Greater Than Portland. And this is where we've pledged thousands of dollars every year because that money goes into advocating for equitable education for the underrepresented children here. So what that means is whether those kids are struggling with resources, food, shelter, therapists, extra tuition, or any extra need, this money goes towards that. And we make sure they are enrolled in school all the way from kindergarten to college. So these are just some of our community impacts. And my goal is to really, really double that up next year as my.
Okay, that is, wow. That is, I love that you're giving back in that way. And the story about the sewing machines and the examples you gave of those women, it's so inspirational. Like people are so motivated and they go and find any means necessary to make their dreams come true, which we don't think about so much, at least on this side of the world, I find, because I don't want to say things come easy to us. They definitely don't. And there's a lot of hierarchy and things going on here as well. But it's very difficult, I find, to think like that because we're not from that environment. At least many of us aren't from that environment of, you know, you're like entrepreneurial. Like that's not your first thought if you're like lacking money, right? Your first thought is usually like, let me go and get a job here. So like, it's really cool to see that people there, maybe getting a job isn't an option there. Maybe their English isn't good or like they can't find something there. And that's why they resort to this. But it's so impactful and inspirational to hear that.
Thank you. And I think we just see ourselves at Detox as a catalyzer in giving people access, because that's something I feel as a woman, minority, that access to a lot of things came very in a difficult way to me. And I wish I can be that catalyzer to give them access, then I will. And you asked how people can support is, believe it or not, amidst all of this, as well as taking care of my family, 6 people in the family, which is my kids, my in-laws, we all live in the same household. I do cook 3 meals in a day, and we're actually vegan by dinner because my family is. So I'll eat anything for lunch and breakfast.
So Pallavi, now thank you so much for sharing your true resolution there. And I think that is so impactful and you're going to do great. And I hope anyone who listens to this also helps support your mission there. So I know you've given us the coupon code for your website. How would people find you? How will people connect with you? Where can people learn more about you and your products?
So I think as a brand owner, I'd really love when it's a two-way communication, not just us talking to our consumers, but also our consumers reaching out to us. So people can find us on Instagram with the handle Detox Plates. And there's a story with that name as well. It's because when we started in 2020, we actually just had 4 plates as our vision and products in mind. So our handle was called Detox Plates, and we never changed our handle after that, though we expanded from the plates to bowls and spoons and straws. But that being said, people can find us as Detox Plates. Then they can find us on Facebook under Detox. People can also connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm a big LinkedIn fan. And people can find me with my name, which is Pallavi, first name, and then Pande. And a fun fact here, the meaning of Pallavi in our Indian language is leaf. My name means leaf.
Wow. That worked out really well.
It did. For me, I got my calling, and the last way to reach out to us is our website, www.detox.com.
Awesome. And when you're on the website, don't forget to use the coupon code DETOX10. And that is all lovely. Thank you so much for joining us today, Pallavi. I am sure that our listeners have gotten a lot of valuable information from today's conversation. So there's a lot for them to think about and a lot to implement. So thank you for these valuable tips.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. That's a wrap on this episode of $1 Million Ecom Brand. I hope you found some valuable insights to apply to your business today. If you loved what you heard, make sure to subscribe and leave a review. It helps more e-commerce founders like you discover the show. And if you're ready to take your brand to the next level with powerful marketing solutions, visit thebanyanagency.com to learn how we can help you scale. We work with businesses of all sizes from $100,000 a year to $100 million a year. Do you know, or are you a 7-figure e-commerce founder that wants to share their experience and journey on this show? You can apply to be a guest. We're currently looking to round out the season with more interviews. So please let the 7-figure founders in your life know about this opportunity to get seen and share about their brand. The link to apply is in the show notes and up on our website at thebanyanagency.com. Until next time, keep building, keep scaling, and I'll catch you on the next episode.